Hello, and welcome. My name is Rich. This is Champions Online, a superhero MMO based on the Champions pen and paper RPG. This is Technical Issues, currently in heavy power armor, after the complaints I made last week about not ordinary people, but people with baseline human toughness fighting crime in less than ideal protective gear. Currently, we are on Monster Island. We've adventured around most of it. There are a couple of missions that I can't handle solo, such as rhinoplasty down here, and the Viper's Nest up here. Viper's Nest was a little bit easier than rhinoplasty ended up being, I think. But still not something I could handle solo, certainly not as a less than max level squishy ranged character. Now, possibly on leveling up and getting better gear, like end game level gear, I'd be able to that's odd. I wonder why take all. I completely lost my train of thought. Possibly if I was equipped with better gear, like max level end game gear, I'd be able to manage, but even then, the amount of damage that was being dished out just by me being there, I think I would probably want to be much more resilient type of character. Maybe a tank, or maybe just something that heals a lot more passively from the abilities that they use, which this power set doesn't allow for, really. Particularly not at the range that I prefer engaging at. So, what we're doing currently is fighting Edomite Temple, Elder Worms, who appear to be, or I suppose eventually, we'll probably find out sooner or later that they're working with the Kings of Edom, because there's an Edomite temple portal here, and when you go through into the through the portal into the temple, it's a Kings of Edom temple, which is bad news. Kings of Edom are kind of like a cross between demons, like denizens of hell, and HP Lovecraftian old ones. So pretty horrible overall. What lies beneath? That's a reference, isn't it? That's the name of a film, I think. Is it that kind of action horror comedy? There's not a lot of comedy in it, but there is a little bit. Or is it What Lies Below? This is telling me to put worm gem fragments in mystical pillars, which will then take me through, activate the portal. Slug is convinced that Lemurians are also hunting for Elder Worm artifacts. The Elder Worms have recently uncovered an old cave that may house those artifacts, and they have sealed its entrance from the Lemurians with their dark, strange sorcery. The spell can be countered, though, with the Elder Worm's own worm gem fragments. I'm surprised that he... Well, no, I mean, it makes sense that he would know. But I'm surprised that the Lemurians don't know. I mean, they're a society of magical people. He probably has some more insight into it than... Yeah. That's the volcano around here being spicy. Michael Perkins is... well, this is the ghost of Michael Perkins. He was an archaeologist who found the first worm gem, and when he did so, his body got possessed, taken over by Slug, the leader of the Elder Worms, and his soul got forced out of his body. And you know, I'm surprised that doesn't happen to everyone else who gets captured and turned into worms. Oh well. Look for the portal in the side of the mountain between the lava flow and rock bridge. Place the worm gem in the pillars. I should probably be pluralized, shouldn't it? The worm gems, because we're looking for worm gem fragments in the pillars to activate and open the portal door to the vermeted caverns. Slug's goal is to obtain an artifact to allow him access to the plane of Edom, where the Elder Worm gods dwell. Oh, right, okay. The kings of Edom were just the Elder Worm gods in the first place. I thought that they had somehow gotten in contact with one another. I thought that they were separate and had gotten in contact with one another somehow, and as a result were working together. But it seems that, at least in the game, because there's something. Distasteful that I must deal with. It appears as though, well, so yes, there are some discrepancies or differences between the lore of the game and the pen and paper RPG. Cryptic, when they were using one as the source material for the other, simplified some things, added a few things. So I am no expert on it, and therefore I don't know whether the kings of Edom have ever been the gods of the Elder Worms, or whether that's new for the game. Well, new for an 11-year-old game. Slug is digging in the vermeted caverns, and if he finds the artifacts he seeks, the Rift Keepers will summon their dark gods into our world. You must travel to the cave and defeat the Rift Keepers. Now, this is another recommended team 1 to 5. So, I may not be able to manage it solo. And if that's the case, well, I'll leave it. I may come back to try these last few missions on Monster Island at a later time. Or I may leave them. I mean, the purpose of the stream, as ever, is to look at the stories that the game is telling, and we've got enough of an idea of what's going on. We won't quite get the conclusion of each of these mission stories, but I figure by this point, if you're interested, you'll probably play the game yourself and get to this point, and you're probably interested enough in what's happening to invest your own time in playing the game. Hopefully you will have seen if you don't already play the game, hopefully you will have seen things that you would enjoy about it, whether that be Carice the Red Impact, whether that be creating your own character with the incredibly flexible character creation options, or the way that the game plays, the incredible breadth of options you have available in terms of building a character, like building the powers, or just the feeling of the game itself, like the atmosphere that it evokes. This is interesting. They're also level 38. Let us wave to them. Let's spy upon their info, which is not loading currently. Wouldn't it be a heck of a thing if they'd just put loading with an ellipsis as their character text? Do I dare ask you to perform one final task, O brave and worthy hero? Slug holds my soul within the charm of the Elder Worm. Hold on a minute. If he's got your soul, what's this here that we're talking to? What's the difference between what's being projected here and your soul? The charm of the Elder Worm, a relic of immense, unspeakable power. Free my soul and I will finally find peace. The charm is located at the end of the worm cave and is guarded by Slug. Well, yes, I mean, makes sense. I'll give it a shot. Can't promise you anything. What I ask of you takes great courage. Technical issues. Well, I mean, certainly got enough of that. I'm not at a deficit of courage. I've faced off against great and terrible evils already to save the world from 3 alien invasions at this point, I think. 2 of which by the Gadroon. Although I don't know whether those 2 occasions should be considered separate attempts. I mean, they were in separate places. One in Canada, one in Millennium City, which would be Chicago, I think, in our universe. Perhaps not Chicago, though. I don't remember. So I don't know whether those 2 Gadroon attempts could be considered separate or connected. I mean, they happen more or less concurrently. Although they were probably... well, first of all, they were probably not commanded by the same person, the same Gadroon. And secondly, to be fair, the one attempt in Millennium City didn't really get that far. They were not nearly as advanced in their attempt as the terraforming of the Canadian effort. Anyway, I'm just deliberating over whether I have the courage to attempt Michael Perkins' quest. But if you succeed, no one else shall share in the torment I have suffered. The only way to truly stop the Elder Worms is to take out Slug, their leader. I think you're ready for the challenge. Slug is hiding out somewhere in the Vermeted Caverns. You'll need 4 of the Elder Worm gems to activate the portal. Okay, so this is all Elder Worm stuff. All taking place through here. You put gems on these pillars. I did this a week or 2 ago, actually, before I went off to Canada and to Vibora Bay. when I was like 33 or 35. So let's... What mission is this? What lies beneath? I think I should already have enough worm gem fragments. Unless they all got removed when I was doing a mission before. That would be annoying. Alright, well, let's pick up worm gem fragments. I only need 4. Because I thought that had gone around and picked up more than I needed for the last quest or mission that asked that I find them. Hoping that I would have a surplus for the next time. I would be required to use them. It seems as though upon... No thanks, I don't want any of your mine stuff. Upon completing the mission, all of them got used up. Hopefully he'll be able to escape without getting just absolutely smushed. But it depends on where he goes and how far he goes. I wonder what these are. Oh well, whatever. This is not what they looked like when they were in the ground. The colour is wrong, the shape is wrong. Somehow they have transmuted whilst they were in my inventory. Alright. Let's see how we manage here, shall we? Unfortunately, electricity is quite a splashy power. I don't know how easily I will be able to control who I pull as I attack, particularly if I'm attacking at maximum efficiency, which is an issue because, as I have mentioned previously, I'm quite squishy. Although, thankfully, it appears as though these elder worms that we have met so far are also quite squishy. Which makes sense, I mean, they're worms. Don't know what I expected. Hello, chaps. It'd be quite good if I could destroy these as well. I mean, I don't know what they do. They're probably just light sources, but they were placed here by the Elder Worms deliberately, presumably because they're useful for the Elder Worms, and as such, I want to be as unhelpful to the Elder Worms as possible. And so, if by destroying these things that they have deliberately placed, I can be a detriment to their effort, well, you know, why not? Go for it, eh? Architecture's a bit odd, isn't it? We had to go through a portal to get in here, and yet why is there still a quantity of lava? And this is quite high up in the geography of the space, isn't it? Like, lava is a liquid. I mean, it's liquid rock, so it's very viscous. The usual appearance of lava in films and in well, some games and TV implies that the viscosity is similar to water. So you can, if you land in lava, you sink into it, which is not the case. Lava is about as viscous as, or more viscous than mercury, I think. So what actually happens if you fall in lava is you rest on top of it and get cooked very, very quickly. Because your density, human bodies are not dense enough to break the surface tension of lava. As such, the liquid in our bodies just kind of gets cooked, and we burn up. And so, for example, in Lord of the Rings, spoilers for Lord of the Rings, when Gollum grabs the ring and falls into Mount Doom, he wouldn't sink into the lava or the magma, whichever it would technically be. One is if it's above ground, and one of it is if it's below ground. And I don't know which it would count as if it's inside a volcano. But let's just go ahead and take on all of these guys, shall we? Was that enough of whichever type that was? Rift Keepers. Okay. This game's really quite bad at Naked Carpenter. Hey, how's it going? Yes, if they were portraying lava accurately in Lord of the Rings, Gollum would have sort of rested on top of the lava and cooked and, well, charred, really. So, I mean, in one sense, it makes sense that they wouldn't show that, because he would be dying somewhere visible, and that would be quite graphic, and it would probably affect the rating that the film would have received. But on the other hand, that and a number of other instances, and this is not the only problem that films have with lava. Lava is very, very hot, and the thing with heat is that it rises. This is the convection of heat. So my character should, by rights, be experiencing heat damage just by being this close to the surface of lava that's glowing this hot. And yet you only receive damage if you actually dip into it and get set on fire. Also, this damage that I'm receiving now is less than I would receive if I did that same thing in the lava outside, which is odd. Perhaps they don't want people who would definitely need to be fighting here to get too badly hurt if they accidentally fall in the fire. I was exploring the thought earlier that the mission I got to defeat Rift Keeper Elder Worms was a 1 to 5 level mission, just like Rhinoplasty and like Viper's Nest. And they are, well, Rhinoplasty is lower level than this is, but they are broadly, I mean, they're in the same sort of 5-level range of one another. So it really seems that the game struggles to accurately and reasonably, determine and advertise what level of difficulty each mission actually is, which is quite annoying. Like, this stuff is definitely, well, so far, I mean, I wasn't struggling that badly with Viper's Nest until I got to Ripper, in fairness. But then again, in Viper's Nest, everyone had the appellation tough, and their level indicator was like a jagged exclamation speech bubble with red and white, not this kind of strange rhomboid. But do you reckon you could have decency to fucking die when I kill you? But to go back to lava in media, another example would be in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Those people above the lava pit. Oh, this is a room full of dudes, isn't it? In Temple of Doom, which, by the way, quite a racist film, unfortunately. Indiana Jones is, if it's a fave, it was probably a problematic fave. Ooh, there's a lore book here. Indiana Jones being racist and problematic is tangential or really unrelated to the point I was trying to make about lava not being correctly portrayed. But lava in Temple of Doom should have cooked everyone that got, just above. Oh, so this is, oh dear, Denise Perkins. This will be wife or sister or daughter or something for what's his face Perkins outside, Michael Perkins, and this is her body. That's unfortunate, isn't it? Everyone that got above the lava in Temple of Doom should have been suffering from some, maybe first, second, third degree burns, if not outright killed. Like, yes, the heat does reduce a small amount the higher up you are, and maybe the height above the lava that they were in that temple would be sufficient to not just kill them, but it should have been a lot bigger of a deal than it was portrayed to be. Anyway, from the Journal of Denise Perkins. My research into Elder Worms continues, and recently I've uncovered some startling truths. The worms are worshippers of beings called the Kings of Edom, powerful and ancient gods who were imprisoned millennia ago. That's not entirely the truth about the Kings of Edom, but it'll do. The Elder Worms want to free them, starting with a group of Edomites called the Ones Who Dwell in Bleakness. Each transformation from human to Elder Worm releases clifothic energy into our world and weakens the walls of the dimensional prison that houses these ancient and terrible Kings of Edom. For the sake of all that is human, we must not allow these transformations to continue. Yeah, that's really unfortunate, isn't it? We were definitely too late to help her. Oh, hey. There's Slug. Yeah, so tough enemies have a similar level indicator to this, except different colours. Let's have some info on Slug, shall we? Just another critter, move along. Well, I suppose it makes sense that he'd have that, because he is... Well, all of them are psychic, so it makes sense that... I wonder what these guys have then. These guys can heal themselves, I think. Well, that one certainly was. Or maybe it was the follower that was healing him. Anyway. So, let's see how this goes. Lightning. Well, that wasn't so difficult. No, he summoned a mind worm just before he died. Okay. So where is the thing? Oh, the charm. There we go. And that's been destroyed now. Freed Michael Perkins' soul. Sorry, I have... Oh, fuck's sake. I have chat open on my phone, and sometimes it just decides not to be connected to the internet, and doesn't tell me. Like, it will connect to the Wi-Fi, but then not be connected to the internet on having done so. So hopefully now it will behave, at least for a while. If, since Naked Carpenter mentioned Peter Jackson missing the opportunity to show Gollum being roasted alive, if anyone has spoken in chat since then and I haven't responded, I apologize. I didn't see it because my phone was not connected and didn't tell me. I'm surprised this is still here. Now, I don't know when I unlocked it, but I do have... this looks like the some of the pieces look like superconductor parts, especially the shoulders. Anyway, I do have an Elder Worm head option, and I think I have this backpack, and probably have the leg armor, yeah, and the subliger, the chest armor probably as well. I don't think that I've got the head piece and the dome. I've got the shoulders, but that's because I unlocked them. I don't think I've got the boots yet. Oh hey, there's more worms. The last of them. That could have been... In story, that could have been a bit of a fumble, couldn't it? Leave some of them alive. So it could... Apart from the headpiece that I don't recognize, it should be possible to create your own Elder Worm. Some of the pieces would need unlocking, like the shoulder pads and boots and stuff. I think those are parts of the that belong to the superconductor parts set, and that needs to be unlocked with in-game currency. But generally speaking, and yeah, so it should be possible to create your own Elder Worm, especially if you don't care about looking exactly like Slug. But that demonstrates just then, like that short fight with Slug. I mean, maybe I'm a natural counter to his power set, but I kind of doubt it. It might be possible that electricity just is really good against psychic, but I don't think so. I haven't experienced that so far, necessarily. So that demonstrates that accurately, you know, determining level threat is not something that the game is very good at. At last, I take great peace in the knowledge that no other may suffer as I have. Thank you, technical issues. And we're one level from max. Long have I prayed for a hero such as yourself. You have my eternal gratitude. My friend, it is too late for me, but you may have just saved every other human on the face of this planet. After all these years, my great suffering is finally at an end. Hero, you will always have my undying gratitude. That means something a bit more when it comes from a spectre, doesn't it? Excavating Androthil. I'm surprised he's still here. On the other hand, Cryptic don't seem to have been able to include phased or, you know, regional phasing in the game. If they want to have a different version, you know, a slightly altered version of a location, they need to have it as a separate map. They can't just have you in a different phase that looks different, like in all of the what's the word? Crises. Commander Fyodorovich is dealing with the Lemurians and Androthil. Until needs help keeping the peace over there, technical issues, and I know you can get the job done. Okie dokie. Well, let's see what we can get by leveling up now. We have 2 points to spend. Not sure what I'm supposed to spend on. Probably just Resurgence. And 1 point of this left. And once we reach level 40, we'll have one final point to put in a mastery. I think it's just this, isn't it? Here we go. I think we're still on the Blood Moon event. Although it's a little difficult to tell because we are now in a lava zone. I'm not sure how long the Blood Moon event lasts. Greetings, comrade. Technical issues. That's interesting. I would have thought the USSR would have fallen by now in this universe. Perhaps they're just playing up a stereotype. I am Captain Alexei Fyodorovich. My men and I have been sent to discover why the Lemurian rebels have split their forces and come to Monster Island. We already called in Dr. Silverback here for scientific advice, but we could certainly use your help in this investigation. Yeah, as the muscle, presumably. Which is fine. That's basically the role that I've been playing in all of the investigations in this game so far, and I'm good at it. Hello, technical issues. I'm glad to see you are here in Androthil. Let's get to work. He probably should have a Russian accent, but I'm not going to try and do that because I wouldn't be very good at it. Captain Alexei Fyodorovich was a decorated veteran of the Russian Navy before he joined Until. His experience in reconnaissance and small unit tactics, as well as his ability to pilot submarines, have earned him a place with Until's amphibious recon team. His current assignment is to monitor Lemurians in the Androthal neighborhood of Monster Island and ensure that they do not recover any ancient Lemurian superweapons. I don't know why there would be any here on Monster Island. I mean, yes, okay, this is the location of one of their ancient temples, I think, or palaces. But you don't tend to keep weapons in palaces, you keep them in military installations. And yes, you probably would have a military installation near to a palace for the purposes of having an army on hand to help defend the king or the rulers. But let's put you on mute, shall we? I mean, wouldn't they have moved everything to Lemuria under the sea when they moved or when they sank? Anyway, we've been trying to figure out the Lemurians' strange ignatium technology for some time, but our lizard-faced foes are simply inexplicable. We know they seek to enslave mankind and rule the earth. Is that what they seek? I thought that they just wanted to wipe us out. I didn't really get that much of an indication of what they were up to when they were when we were fighting in Lemuria. Just that they didn't like us very much. And for that reason alone, we have to learn as much as we can about them in order to stop them. It's called Know Your Enemy. Yes, I don't know why we're being introduced to the concept now at level 39, but okay. If you could help us get hold of more drill survey report. What? If you could help us get hold of more drill survey report the Lemurians are carrying. That should probably be reports, shouldn't it? Pluralized. There's a lot of that in this game. A lot of small grammatical spelling issues, as well as like broader grammatical problems with sentence structure and like repetitiveness and the flow of the sentence not being very good. That could be improved with like a couple of passes, maybe just one pass by an experienced editor. If you could help us get more of the drill survey reports the Lemurians are carrying, maybe we can beat them to the ignatium deposits and figure out once and for all how to work those crazy crystals. Yeah, probably not. The Lemurians brought a number of specialists to help them find whatever they're looking for in those ruins. I believe that they may be our best hope of learning what the Lemurians are after, not to mention slowing down their operation. Each of the 4 main dig sites has different specialists helping the effort, and we'll need information from all of them. There are reports of Lemurian historians at the northernmost ruins on the mountain, archaeologists at the jungle ruin site, speleologists, I don't know what that means, at the ruins by the lava, and cartographers at the southernmost ruins. Let's find out what speleologist means. It's probably got something to do with lava flows. Speleology, the study of or exploration of caves. Okay, fair enough. And it makes sense that, well, it makes a certain amount of sense that someone who studies caves would need to know about lava. Okie dokie. I can do that. That's not a problem. Beat up lizardy Lemurians. Ooh. That one has a mission. The Lemurians on Monster Island are gathering shards of crystallos, a type of magical crystal they often use for data storage. They are clearly gathering them with the intention of discovering some long-buried secret, dating back thousands of years ago when Lemurians ruled the Earth and Andrith the Golden ruled the Lemurians. Mark my words. Who is this? Who is talking? Mark my words, they will use this information to make war on humanity, so they cannot be allowed to collect these shards. Any Lemurian on the island might have one or more shards, so keep an eye out for them, and be prepared to use force in order to confiscate the shards. How else would I get them? Just walk up and go, excuse me, you got any shards I could have? Burn your corpse on a fulminor pyre, human. I doubt it. If only because you will not be in any position to do anything with my corpse. Wow, he had 10 crystal shards. Nice. I only need 30. That was a third of them. I wonder what the range is. I mean, it must be... Well, maybe not. Maybe not 1 to 10. Maybe 0 to 10. There have been occasions, well, certainly occasions in other places where, like in Canada, when I was trying to get ectoplasm off of spirits, that I would take down 5 to 10 spirits at a time before actually getting any ectoplasm from any of them. This is after I had done another mission where I'd gotten the same type of, resource, ectoplasm or something ectoplasm, like evil ectoplasm or dark or spooky ectoplasm or whatever it was, bleak maybe, off of the same spirits, because there's only one type of spirit that you can find in Canada. And so they must just have different drop rates for the two different missions for some reason. Like in the one mission it was 1-to-1, so each spirit that I dropped, that I took out, dropped one sample of ectoplasm that I needed, and then in a separate, the following mission that asked me to get, that's lucky, he was attacking the electricity character with electricity. That's a bright idea, isn't it? Oh, and here's one of their drills. This is a lot of dudes, isn't it? So in the following mission, it must have been 0 to... I think I got 3 or 4 at once. And I needed quite a lot of the stuff as well, as I recall. Out of range. Yeah. Is this the... crystals of stuff I need. Ooh, destroyed your drill. Ha. Sorry, still salty about the miserable drop rate, I guess. So, what was the name of the technology that they used? It was like magmatic technology or something. Implies that they use some kind of lava technology. No, not that mission. Ignatium, that's the stuff. Is this ignatium, do you reckon? It's like crystals made of lava. Hello, chap. You looking for a bad time? I've got one for you. Ooh, an Archmagus. How about you chaps? Having that. And you lot and all. Do the electro dance and have a sleep. Ooh. That's impressive precision, isn't it? What's going on here? Ooh. That looks like a face, doesn't it? It's not just me. That looks like a face having a really bad time. It's like, these are the arms. This is the face of someone having a very bad day. Still need archaeologist data. Oh, and here we have some archaeologists, so that's handy. And we also need cartographer's data and speleologist data. Now the reason that this guy is called a devolved Lemurian is that the Lemurians who serve the bleak ones, the Edomites, the kings of Edom, have been devolved into an earlier form of Lemurian that can breathe water and is reptilian or amphibious. Well, I suppose basically the same thing. No, it's not. There are amphibious mammals, because amphibious means it can go on land and water. There are also amphibious birds. So they are amphibious reptiles who can survive on both the land and in the water. And oh, I've done the Lemurian one already. Okay. So one of the names of the types, so there's a primordial Lemurian, which is again evocative of something old in the past, from the past. Progenitor. Members of the ancient Lemurian race recently reverted to amphibious form after making a pact with the dark gods known as the Bleak Ones. Many have come to Monster Island seeking ancient relics from a lost era of when Andrith the Golden was ruler of the Lemurians. Block the charge. Yeah, okay. That's not really relevant. I wonder what's in there. Let's find out. Oh, he's a site commander. Okay. Let's spoil his day. This juxtaposition of colours, red and green, is a bit garish, isn't it? I mean, red and green can work together. It's quite Art Deco, and for example, the original Starman, who is a superhero in DC's universe, Ted Knight. He had a green and red outfit, and that looked pretty cool. Oh, and there was also gold in it as well, because his cosmic rod had gold coloration. But green and red can work together, particularly in Chinese art and art objects. It can look really good together, but when it's glowing like this, really like neon bright, it clashes. You need some variation in intensity and pattern. You need a different texture on it. Ooh, there's another drill that we can destroy. Give him a tough time. And there's the commander. Let's spoil his day. I wonder where he's off to. Good night, Commander. Collecting crystals and also doing something with eggs. And they, despite seeing the eggs explode in front of them, completely unperturbed. They're after big chromy looking crystals. Okay. Oh, hey. There's that person again. Carice the Red Impact. That doesn't really tell me very much about what... Oh, there's another Archmagus. About what sort of powers they use. They appeared to be using... the one variation of the swinging power, which is cool. So perhaps it looked like they had like a red thread or cord that they were swinging from. So I don't know which version of swinging that would be, but it's probably colorable. Probably not chain swinging. Maybe fire swinging. Or energy swinging, actually, probably. Because it didn't look like it was on fire or was chains or anything, so... if it's red energy swinging, it doesn't really narrow it down at all, does it? Could be anything. Red Impact. How come no one's dropping anything? I'm supposed to be defeating... Oh, have we already done the speleologist bit? Alright. Okay. Guess we're done. So it's just the cartographers then. I don't remember noticing the audio cue. What's up with this weird, like, pavilion? Gazebo. Looks like it probably folds out, because these are telescoping, and these probably fold down, I guess. Let's ignore the fact that it's clipping through the floor. Do you reckon it folds up? But if it does that, then why does it also need a telescope quite so much as it obviously does? Why does the top look like some kind of religious smoke sensor? Alright, never mind. Beat up some cartographers. I'm sure that's going to be difficult, isn't it? Cartographers, of course, have a reputation for being tough guys, good in a fight. Alright, well, we're done there then. Let's fly back to whatever his name was. Alexei Fyodorovich. Fyodorovich, probably. Superb work, technical issues. I knew I could count on you. Thank you, comrade. The Lemurians of old had many powerful magic technology we have yet to understand. But it is indisputably dangerous. This is a very awkward sentence, isn't it? The Lemurians of old had many powerful magic technology we have yet to understand. I mean, for one thing, you should probably shorten this into Magotech or something. Or Magitech. Having it magic technology is just an awkward way of putting it. But it also seems like they accidentally a word. Any powerful magic technology. No, I don't know what word is missing, because the Lemurians of old had many powerful magic technology we have yet to understand. Like, had much powerful technology, maybe? Because had many powerful magic, that suggests a sequence of collective objects, not like a collective concept. Never mind. A series of separate objects. Well done, comrade. The Lemurians will have a difficult time excavating the ruins when they don't know where to dig. Yeah. Defo. Now what? Am I supposed to... Has he got missions? My, it's good to see you. Technical issues. Unfortunately, my Millennium City lab experiments are running longer than expected. They're always running longer than expected. He never leaves the lab. Glad you're on hand to help with the Lemurian threat, since I'm unable to. What's he here for? Or what's this here for? He's not here himself. Are they supposed to have more missions for me? Am I not quite... No, they'd have a grayed out exclamation mark if there were supposed to be more missions. Am I missing missions because I didn't finish Viper's Nest or something? The game is generally pretty good at introducing you to the next people you're supposed to talk to for missions. Why is there a respawn point here? That usually only happens around... Okay, so there's a cave entrance there. Usually they only have respawn points like this near to places where quest givers or mission givers hang out. But that's obviously not the case here. That tree is completely fucked, isn't it? That's a big piece of ignatium. At least I assume it's ignatium. We haven't got any confirmation that that's what it is. It's a big long path, isn't it? Wonder where the palace used to be then. Maybe here? No. It's just a ziggurat. What have you got in your box? Hello. Can't open it. It might be a crafting node for a different crafting skill than I've got. Look at all this security that did nothing. Oh well, whatever. That's interesting. It's moving in several different directions. This implies this is where lava's coming up from under the surface. So this is the path up. It is odd that I haven't got the mission, but there have been a couple of other occasions when I should have gotten missions but didn't. What this is? Let the burning bones of our enemies serve as a warning to all those who would take up arms against Lemuria. Thousands of years ago, this land was home to the majestic palace of Andrith the Golden, the great and wise priest-king of Lemuria. The royal house of Hirg hereby reclaims Andrithal in the name of Great Lemuria. It is our destiny to rule the lands and seas of this planet, and our new allegiance with the Bleak Ones will ensure that Lemuria returns to the glorious empire it was always meant to be. No, it won't. You cannot trust the kings of Edom to be anything other than monsters that will destroy the world. What's the point in this? What's the point in building? I mean, yeah, clearly it's broken, but what was the point in originally? Like, you can't walk here. These are the pillars that hold up the bridge above. Where would you be going from and to? Why are these here? They're not decoration, clearly, because they go all the way across. And are paved with side rails, so you don't fall off into the lava by accident. So this was a tower of some kind. We're not quite high, it looks like. But with the volcano being spicy as it is, probably been destroyed by that. Oh, at the top of the universe. This is as high as we can go. Yeah, it looks like. Okay. Bit odd that there's still more up there we just can't interact with or reach. Oh, is this? Yeah, that's got the big unhappy face in it. Is this just a scaled up version of the smaller tower we saw down below? It is, isn't it? Even clipping through the mountain. Is this the old palace? I'm not gonna know, am I? Hold on a minute. How is this lava higher than and flowing out higher than this? Like, you would think if the forces that are pushing the lava up from below are strong enough to get it up to this point, this height here, maybe this is being kept this level by Lemurian Magotech. Oop. That counts as the surface of the lava. It sets you on fire. Okay. So this path is clearly leading us here. Well, there's also whatever this is over here. Section of a temple that's clipping through the wall and leads nowhere because it's just the cliff face. So this route up the side of the mountain, or volcano, clearly leads here. So is this the entrance? Yeah, Andra's Ruins. Okay, there we go. Probably not supposed to be able to enter there yet, but I don't have a mission that would lead me to it. It is clear the Lemurians think there is something of great value buried here at Monster Island, or they would not have sent so many Lemurian forces at a time when there is such upheaval in their native land. Could it be native land if it's underwater? The Lemurians of old were known for their strange and terrible doomsday devices, so in all likelihood they are trying to dig up some long-buried superweapon. We need to put a stop to this, and the best way to do that is to take on the Lemurian leadership on Monster Island. Vicorin the Blind and his servant, the Hirg Coruscator, were last seen entering Andreth Ruins from the top of the volcano in Andrethal. Okay, that doesn't tell me anything. Open the door. Get on the floor. Oh, these guys are tough. And level 42. Everybody do the dinosaur. Oh, hello. that's pulled. And that hurt quite a lot. Yeah, this is not going to go very well, is it? Ouch. Jeez, and that was just 3 of them. Yeah, I can't handle this, so I shall leave. Also, not a huge amount of point, because I don't have a mission to be in there. I don't know where I'd get one. So, I can't finish the missions that I've got here solo. Well, there's one. I can do Identity now. But I don't know where to go next. Probably Southwest Desert. Hello. Yeah, these are definitely superconductor parts. Oh, there's a mind worm. A mind worm. Oh, they're not dropping many IDs, are they? Oh, there's 2. Okay. Just need 5 more. Does this specify which ones drop them? Just defeated Elder Worms. No, doesn't specify. Just have to go around and find Elder Worms to defeat. Okay. So, Southwest Desert. I don't want to go to anywhere new. At least not before I finish other areas. So, I don't want to go to Vibora Bay just yet. And I think that I want to set aside a whole stream session or 2 maybe for each adventure pack, because I know that they are going to take a long time each. So I think I'll probably want to actually go through each of the adventure packs on my main and time how long it takes me, so that I can determine oh come on. So I've got an idea of how long each one will take, plus a certain amount of time, because I won't be rushing through and taking my time and reading mission info, and also just like generally stopping to talk about things. It might be that I'll be able to manage at least one or two of the adventure packs in a 4-hour session, so I could go from 7 to 11 on an occasion when I was doing when I knew I'd be doing an adventure pack. Next, I don't know, I think I might go to Lemuria actually, after I've done the ID papers. Great, thanks, that helpful. That don't give me anything that I could use for my mission, just gear and enhancement drops. Cool. Quite helpful. It's taking bloody ages, isn't it? It's not just me. When I attack them, they go and attack the captives that they've got, isn't it? Don't they? That mind worm, a psychic projection, just dropped an ID paper. Why did it have an ID paper? Yeah, so here we go. He's attacking the captive, which isn't actually doing anything. With those purple tendrils. Rather than... And he's doing it with the... Ego Blade's power, isn't he? I mean, it would be one thing if doing that killed the captives, or like converted them into more mind worms, but neither thing is true. Doesn't hurt the captives at all. I hope that's an ID paper. Hey! That was a sad task, but you performed it admirably. Technical issues. I guess I will not. I will inform the next of kin to the people who tragically lost their lives to these horrible elder worms. Yeah, that sucks. Is it just me, or is my internet futzing up? I might be having a problem with Maruta because I have a hard connection. I'm not using Wi-Fi on this PC that I'm streaming from. I've got a wire, very good wire, Cat 7, not quite the maximum capacity, so there shouldn't be any problem in the connection between this PC and the router, which means the problem is with the router. Fucking rubber banding. It might be a problem with the Champions Online servers. Because there was a similar issue yesterday, although I don't know whether that was an issue I was having with my internet or... Oh, come on, please don't do this. Yeah, as I was saying, I don't know whether the issue I had yesterday and the issue I appear to be having today is a result of bad internet or bad servers on the side of Champions Online. I probably want to go back into the age here to see if they've got any missions. Doesn't look like they do. There's a repeatable mission here for Captain Jean de Boer, but I think the rest of the missions, assuming there are any... Oh no, there are. I just couldn't take them when I was here last time. Are going to be deeper in. If this continues or gets any worse, I might have to stop early, because this is intolerable. Rubber banding like this. I might go offline and give the router a rest, turn it on and off and on again. See if that helps. See if I can come back. But this is not an issue I've been having previously. I don't understand why it's happening now. Can't even get fucking close enough to the guy. Fucking talk to him. The kelp forest is home to the endangered kaleidoscopic lyre-tail. I say endangered because some vicious panther sharks have moved in and are devouring everything in sight, and those beautiful docile fish won't last much longer. The lyre-tails stay close to the kelp throughout the kelp forest. Take this net, capture the skittish creatures, and we'll relocate them to someplace safe. I told you I came here to film a documentary, but what I didn't tell you was that I had a partner, a marine biologist by the name of Jason Costanza. The panther sharks tore him to shreds before my very eyes, even while the camera captured the entire thing. Please, technical issues. Head to the kelp forest and put a stop to those panther sharks. This time it's personal. Marine corpse. My fellow documentarian, noted marine biologist Jason Costanza, was in the kelp forest trying to be the first to capture the kaleidoscope lyre-tail on film when his personal submersible was taken down by a panther shark. How? The panther shark was bigger than I'm expecting. There was nothing I could do. Now, with your help, I can lay him to rest. Please, technical issues. Bring me Jason Costanza's dog tags from the kelp forest. Okie dokie. Plunder the sea. Yes, very good. I think I've done most of the missions around here. I have to have done. I haven't done the open world mission here. Water hazards, but that was because I couldn't manage because it was... And that's a radioactive great white. That's not a panther shark. That's a radioactive tiger shark. Radioactive barracuda. That just makes me think of yeah, it's a panther shark. The song Barracuda by Heart. Yeah, I think I can't really get into fights with the game not being connected properly. I can't react quickly enough to something going wrong, so I'm gonna go offline for a few minutes, maybe 10 or 20. It depends how long it takes to try and fix the internet and then ascertain whether it's actually working or not. But I'll try and come back online for 10 o'clock, so 20 minutes time. And if it's just not gonna work at all anymore today, then that'll be it for the stream, I guess. But hopefully turning off the router and leaving it to cool down or whatever will be enough. But I apologize for this brief intermission. Hopefully it won't be too long. Well, it appears as though the problem has sorted itself out. Thankfully. so I can continue playing. Alright, yeah. Having my toggle on will be useful. This is enormous kelp, isn't it? I wonder where the lyre tails are supposed to be. Oh, no. Looks like I'm having trouble again. Fucking marvellous. Thanks, game. So where are... Oh, this will probably be them, won't it? Oh, that's a radioactive barracuda. That's not what I'm after. That's not the lyre tail fish. Kaleidoscope lyre tail. Oh, there we are. Wait. Why is this a hostile henchman level? Is it going to attack? No. Alright. Was a little worried that it would turn out the lyre tails were actually extremely belligerent. In opposition to what our mission giver friend had told us, and that they would attack, and I would maybe need to defeat them before I'd be able to net them. But it seems it's fine. This goes down really deep, doesn't it? Look at this. It's a long way down, isn't it? It's a good thing it doesn't get darker as you go down. This, that will be enough of the panther sharks. Still rubber banding, but not quite as bad as before, thankfully. Don't know why. I mean, I did check my internet connection and the router, and both were fine. So it has to be a problem with the server. worse. Come on. Please. Still got an hour of stream left. There's a liar tail. Come here, friend. Oh, I didn't need any of them, did I? Still need Tingy's dog tags. Where do I get them from? Is his body just hanging out somewhere, or are they going to drop from a panther shark? Retrieve the dog tags of Jason Constanza from the kelp forest. That's not very helpful. Oh, hey, there's a submersible. Maybe the dog tags will be around here somewhere. Oh. Ah, jeez. I can see... There we are. The body. Next to the sub. There we are. Oh, he stood up. What the fuck? That was freaky. Don't give me this. Christ, what else can I play? This is intolerable. Thanks to your efforts, my friend will finally find peace. Jason Constanza was a great marine biologist and a great man. Did you know we once rescued a whale that had a golf ball lodged in its blowhole? That's what he told me, anyway. That's probably referencing something that happened in The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Because this is Stan Zissou, not Zissou. Thank you, my friend. After I have completed this documentary, I am done with the ocean forever. Perhaps I will move to Millennium City and make movies about superheroes. What do you think? You're not camera shy, are you? Technical issues? Kind of. But also, Millennium City is not safer than the ocean. Not remotely. Oh, thank you, technical issues. Someday you can visit these fish at my Oceanographic Institute. I have already radioed my crew to get a tank set up for these glorious specimens. I only got 5, didn't I? That's not a breeding population. I assume it's supposed to be representative of a greater number. This place has been crawling with superheroes. You just missed Floodgate. Now, she's not exactly a superhero, but when it comes to protecting the ocean, her heart is in the right place. Maybe you can help her out. She was at the ancient Lemurian dig site, the one with the statue of the ancient Lemurian priest king Faltra Lem. Okay. You know, there's some trouble in these waters when heroes start showing up. The aquatic hero amphibians swam all the way from Vibora Bay to try to contain the conflict between the Calcaradons and Lemurians. The amphibian in this universe is basically this universe's version of Aquaman, except he's like the crappy Silver Age Aquaman who can only talk to fish and breathe water. So he's not very useful. Maybe you can pay him a visit and, what do you superfolk call it? Team up. He's near an old shipwreck outside the entrance to the Calcaradon's base, due east of here and southeast of the ancient Lemurian statue. Now, what is the betting that I'm going to do most of the work on that? We could probably give water hazards a try. I expect I'm high enough level to manage it, and I was about to say, it looks like things have gotten better for the rubber banding, but that's not the case at all, is it? They did briefly, and now we're back to fucking square one again. I can't manage an open world mission like this. Should I start DCU early? I don't think so. I kind of want to play the whole thing. I know what Amphibian looks like, so I actually want to find Floodgate first. She may actually be a bit more useful than him as well. I could maybe make a character in Black Desert. Or... where is the superhero I'm supposed to be meeting? Maybe Lord of the Rings Online? I've got that. Oh, there she is. Don't have a huge amount of experience with Lord of the Rings Online. I'm just interested in it because I like Lord of the Rings and the Silmarillion and stuff. So, who is this? What does she look like? Radical, superpowered environmentalist who gained hydro-controlling powers after falling into water tainted by runoff from chemical research facility. Floodgate now seeks to punish anyone who destroys or pollutes the oceans and rivers of the earth, and her uncompromising attitude often runs her afoul of the law. Just because something's legal doesn't mean it's right. And just because lobbyists have managed to convince or bribe politicians into making a thing legal doesn't mean that it is morally correct, or even that it should be legal. Having lots of money does not automatically make you right. Look here, superhero, I don't want any trouble. You probably know I've tangled with you hero types in the past, but this time we're working towards the same goal, saving the world's oceans. This is my duty as Floodgate, to track down those who would despoil the ocean and punish them. Yeah, fair enough. I'm not going to get on at you about it. I'm on your side. Thank goodness I'm getting some help. These vile Carcharodon creatures will destroy these pristine waters in their attempts to take over the Mandragoror superweapon. Probably. That's exactly the same info as we got from reading her character info. Okay. Have you seen the wreckage site of the nuclear submarine, the Cherenkov? Some of it, yeah. Helped clean it up, actually. It's a casualty of the Cold War, sunk decades ago along the northeastern edge of the Caliginius depths, hanging over the abyss. There are active nuclear arms scattered around the vessel, posing a threat to all of the inhabitants of the depths. Technical issues. It is imperative you deactivate those weapons. I picked up pieces of not only the Cherenkov, but also I picked up those nuclear torpedoes or nuclear warheads. Also, Cherenkov is an odd name for a submarine. No, it's not. Well, kind of. Cherenkov radiation is radiation you get when it's a color, really. Cherenkov radiation is given off when the particles that are giving it off, emitting it, move faster than the speed of light in the medium. So light can be slowed, and indeed it does get slowed, only imperceptibly. I mean, the percentage that it gets slowed is practically nil, but it does happen. And underwater, light gets slowed more than in air, in atmosphere, which again is less than maximum speed in a vacuum. And what happens when particles given off by fissile material travel faster than that speed of light, partially restricted by medium or by environment, is you get Cherenkov radiation, which is it's photons of a very specific color, and it's almost an aquamarine. In fact, her outfit is kind of the color of Cherenkov radiation, particularly this section here. Perhaps slightly more on the indigo side than the yellowy side. But it's broadly this sort of color. It's actually my favorite color. Cherenkov radiation might actually be this sort of color, now that I think about it, but brighter. Like more lumescent. Particularly in nuclear reactors that are kept underwater, you see it when the reactor turns on. In fact, there are a few videos of it on YouTube. And I think it's, broadly speaking, safe as long as you're not like right next to the source of the radiation. I mean, you shouldn't be going for a dip in the water that they keep reactors submerged in. Like, that's just a bad idea in general. Don't do it. But even if you do, you're probably okay. It's not going to be to absolutely kill you. Nothing makes me angrier than witnessing the downfall of one of the proudest aquatic civilizations. Didn't the Lemurians fall fucking ages ago? Lemuria is an ancient culture with a rich history, and these Lemurian rebels have no respect for their culture's rich history. Surely that would have been easier by saying... That's a very awkward sentence, isn't it? Lemuria is an ancient culture with a rich history, and these Lemurian rebels have no respect for their culture's rich history. I mean, you don't need to repeat rich history. Just say no respect for that history. That would flow better. I have recently discovered the existence of 4 relics. Faltralem's false gods, priceless idols from Lemuria's ancient... Lemurians. There's an N in there that doesn't need to be there. From Lemuria's ancient past. Recover them for me from around the statue at the Lemurian dig site. You'll find them within some of the structures. Okie dokie. So let's go and find... Oh yeah. Turn on travel powers. There we go. Still rubber banding. Here we are. Oh, if I can get over there. If the game will let me go over there. Here is the amphibian. Since that last explosive encounter with Stingray, Amphibian has relocated to Vibora Bay, where he sometimes guest lectures at Sinclair University. He still carries the hope that he might run into Stingray again someday and save her from her own emotional torment. That sounds unfortunate. I'm missing a piece of information there, but I don't know the history between him and Stingray. Hello, fellow superhero. I'm Amphibian, but you can just call me Jeff. Have I run into you before in Vibora Bay? Unlikely. We will meet one another again in Vibora later, but that hasn't happened. I've come a long way to try and get the trouble in Lemuria under control. I expect you are here for the same reason. Sizu, it was good of him to send you. Well-known Vibora-based superhero with a mutant ability to breathe underwater, enhanced underwater senses, and aquatic telepathy. Having overcome some self-destructive personal problems, Amphibian, real name Jeffrey Lamb, is now an environmental champion and a one-man superhuman coast guard. Currently, Amphibian has come to Lemuria to help contain Calcaradon and Lemurian threats. By which the game means hand off all responsibility to me. Sharks with frickin' laser beams! Nice. The Calcaradons are assembling a gigantic dark blaster to gain access to the Lemurians' ancient Mandragora weapons. I fear fisticuffs are in order if we are to defeat Calcaradons and destroy their dark blaster parts. The laser is being built on the edge of the Caligineous depths overlooking Rastrinfar's abyss, between the ancient Lemurian statue and the Mandragora. The way that the game talks about the Mandragora is inconsistent. It makes it sound like either it's a singular object or a group of technologies. And I mean, I think this is supposed to be the Mandragore, the singular Mandragore, like some kind of cannon or something. Anyway, near the Carcharodon base, there is a strange substance seeping from the shelf wall. A similar miasmatic ooze was found in Millennium City that they are calling clifothic seepage. Oh, that's bad news. I fear the two are from the same source. Yeah, probably. But I need samples to verify. The base is along the southeast wall of the Caliginius depths. If you need more information, you can go talk to Ironclad on Monster Island. Why would he have more information about... I mean, okay. Guess I'll drop by and pay him a visit. We really ought to have a handle on the Lemurian Civil War, but there are simply too dang many of these aquatic enemies to contend with. If you could thin their ranks a bit, that might give us an advantage. We need to turn this war around, defeat 150 Lemurians in Caliginius depths. Now, that's that's exactly the same as all the other repeatable quests, or missions rather, where you just go around defeating 150 of something, and I'm not going to bother with it this time. Here, it's not necessary. It doesn't add to the story. Let's go do of unknown origin, shall we? If the game will let us. How magnanimous. Swim away now, and perhaps I will allow you to live. That's classic villain speech, isn't it? This dimension is lousy with costume do-gooders, even here in remote Lemuria. Yeah, definitely thought that the Carcharodons are not native to this dimension. They're from Multifaria, the dimension where everyone's morality is flipped, that you visit during the Resistance adventure pack. We will get there eventually, but we haven't yet. Trying to fight whilst rubber banding is enormous pain in the arse. Rubber banding is that trying to move and then springing back to where you were. These portal thingies look a lot like the rift portal thingies that were in the underground base bit in the Southwest Desert Crisis. There were, when we went down to defeat Megaton, Destroids were coming out of these portals. Wouldn't really call this an ooze. Come on. Let me play the game. Let's go to Monster Island, shall we? Oh, wait, there's a portal that's not being guarded by anyone. I hope this doesn't keep happening. Oh, well. It seems to have stopped a little bit now. I'm not rubber banding back and forth. Hopefully it's sorted itself out. Oh, spoke too soon. If this keeps happening during the rest of the week, I might have to switch to a different game. This isn't really playable as it is right now, is it? Ah, technical issues. Amphibian said you'd be coming to borrow my new good luck charm. My people, the Perseids, have used this 8-legged symbol as a good luck charm since our earliest civilizations. Our language's symbol for luck is actually based on it. You can imagine my surprise when I saw it in Dr. Silverback's lab. He thought it would be safe with me, so he let me hold on to it between experiments. You can bring it back to me when you're done. Crystal spider sign. A slab of crystal quartz crystal inlaid with an 8-legged design of glowing metals that very roughly resembles a spider. It now has several scientific devices wired to it. Okay. I wonder what difference getting the spider crystal or crystal spider sign from Ironclad makes. Probably won't be able to find out very easily. I'd have to do the same mission again with a different character and not get it the second time. Apply crystalline spider sign. That sounds like a bad idea, so let's do it. Begins to resonate. Received glowing crystal spider sign. Crystal spider is glyphothic. That's definitely bad news. Ooh, there's a Carcharodon General. Let's fuck him up. Good night. Excellent work, my friend. I'll get one of my dolphin minions to dispatch these samples back to the Aegea, where Until scientists can compare the results with the ones being examined by Dr. Silverback's lab in Millennium City. And presumably also the stone. Oh no, there it is. It's still in my inventory. Okay. A broken... Okay, let's pick up this mission first. Oh yeah, that's defeat 150 dudes, isn't it? Which I'm not going to bother with, because otherwise I'd be here for ages. The Lemurians are gathering shards of Crystallus to help them find something in Andrathal. Yeah, I know. I beat them up whilst they were up on Monster Island. But you still don't know what... But surely that should be we still don't know what. It implied, by saying, but you still don't know what, by saying you instead of we, or I, he's implying he knows. And isn't sharing the information? If you could access the Magitech Oraculus computer where they're storing the information, the gathered information, you could find out what they're looking for. You'll need to obtain a functional Oraculus access device first. Your best chance is to look for a Lemurian data specialist or commander around the central dig site near the Oraculus itself. Okay. Is that a mission for Monster Island? Right. Yes, of course. It wouldn't be him giving the mission because I'm taking it from Broken Oraculus Access Device. So it makes sense that it would say you don't know what. It doesn't imply that he knows and isn't telling me because he isn't involved at all. I just happen to be near him when I'm looking at it. Sorry, getting confused. The crystal spider sign is resonating against the Clifothic tears. That's two thus. One of them needs removing. In Lemuria, in the same way it did against the tears in Millennium City. You should get this back to Ironclad so he can tell Dr. Silverback. Okay, that's simple enough. So that's actually... Oh, that'll be... that'll be the following pieces. I've already started doing missions here now. That's not where the sub went down. Didn't it go down over here? Or was that a different sub? Because there are definitely nukes here. You can even see them on the minimap. These are nuclear warheads that you gather up and dispose of on board the Aegir. Or is this a different submarine? Or is it the same? I don't remember anymore. It's been ages since I did it. Ugh. For fuck's sake. So I bloody can see him, he's right there. Let's nab the false god statue. And move on to the next thing over here. The Lemurian idol. It's going to shoot me with electricity, not knowing. It's a stupid idea. Oh, they're all false god statues, okay. We've got Noloran Khan and Og Slintal. Or Slintal, maybe. And we have Rarisha and Mantine left. Next one's probably in here, isn't it? There we go. Not going to bother blocking that because it's not going to do me any damage. Well, not going to do me significant damage. Not enough that I would worry. Which false god is this? Rarisha, okay. Now we have Mantine left. And you dropped a Gambler's Lucky Gem. Nice. Let's do shocks with frickin' laser beams. Dark blast apart. There we go. I wonder if I can get close enough that I can take out the part. No, without drawing them in. No, obviously not. Like that part to a dark blaster, it looks like a piece of stone. Perhaps it's a stone container for a dark blaster? Oh wow. Look at that. The shark-headed laser blaster. Go. Am I not going to deal with the cannon itself? Yeah, super good idea. Fly in front of the muzzle of a huge blaster. And we've also got... Oh yeah, this is... Bright glowing green means radioactive in the game universe. Oh, that's interesting. Enter the Cherenkov. Do I need to enter the Cherenkov, or do I just need to... Ooh, zombies. That's bad news, isn't it? These are crew members who have been raised as zombies. And these missiles look like... Saturn missiles? Taking damage from a dot. I'm taking damage from deadly poison, and I'm also bleeding. Nice. Fun. To disable 3 of the slugs, so that's good. Why are these all over the place here? I mean, I know that the... what the fuck kind of construct was it again? Empyrenes, that's the one. I know that the Empyrenes are at war, or certainly don't like the Lemurians at all. I suppose they're probably taking advantage of the fact that there's a Lemurian civil war on at the moment. Is there another? No, there isn't. I thought maybe the little red bit of something I was seeing on the minimap was an indicator for another... Oh wow, there's a huge jellyfish. It's an indicator for another open world mission, but it turns out not to be the case. I probably don't want to come anywhere near these guys, but for the sake of curiosity I will. Just this once. Ooh. Diver's in danger. Ooh, wow, that's a lot of damage. Jeez. Okay, that teaches me. What's going on there? Oh well. I'm curious about entering the Cherenkov. I mean, I'll probably get a mission to that takes me in there as it is, but there's still air aboard. Wow, that's wild. I'd have thought it would have flooded by now. This is very spacious for a Cold War era submarine. I mean, I know that they have to have a certain amount of space so that characters can actually move around and see. Like, you couldn't reasonably create the kind of cramped environment that this space actually would have had if it were... This isn't where you put a reactor on a sub like this. You also wouldn't have exposed rods like that. No, this will be... There'll be like an actual mission that takes me in here. I probably don't want to spend the time. Because like this is where... These are like the engines. This will be, maybe not V engines, but these will be pistons, like you would see in a... Hold on, maybe not. Maybe I'm completely just talking out my arse because I'm not... I don't know what I'm talking... Because I don't have any experience with submarines of this type, but I think that those were pistons like you'd get in an internal combustion engine. Ironic, is it not, that amid all the carnage caused by the Lemurians and Carcharodons, the greatest threat to the ocean is still man? Thank you for showing me there is still good in humanity. Toxic Avenger. Toxic Avenger. Yes, yes, there are relics of extraordinary... These are relics of extraordinary historical significance. Thank you for helping me save them from wanton destruction. These Lemurians can be such a self-destructive people. In addition to the Mandragora, they once built a doomsday weapon called the Ultra Coruscator, capable of harnessing light and unleashing it with cataclysmic fury. They are excavating the ruins, destroying history, and polluting the waters with their digging machines in search of coruscator lenses. Defeat the Lemurian engineers and confiscate the coruscator lenses. The military-industrial complex is one of the biggest offenders against Mother Nature. Nuclear submarines generate a criminal amount of radioactive and highly toxic waste. I don't think that they do. Cherenkov is no exception. Well, okay, so Cold War era nuclear subs probably created more, and Soviet ones even more so again, if only because the Soviets cared less about safety precautions and more about saving money. That being the reason for the eventual root cause of all the problems that stacked up, or the reason why all the things that stacked up became such a huge problem in Chernobyl, because the construction of the reactor there was for the purposes of saving money, not quite in a number of ways, not as safe as it could have been. The Cherenkov is no exception. Head over to the wreckage, collect the toxic barrels, then drop the contents in any one of the 3 volcanic fissures surrounding the Cherenkov to safely dispose of it. I don't know that that's a safe disposal of nuclear waste. You'll probably want to take them one at a time. Carrying one hurts a little, carrying many hurts a lot. I'm probably going to be fine taking all 3 at once. Well done, technical issues. Eliminating this Carcharodon threat is a great feat indeed. Well, that's quite a few missions, isn't it? I think I'll just do... No, before I do any more, I want to go back up to Monster Island and do dig data download, in the hopes that it leads to... Oh, hello. You spawned in quite early there, didn't you? Or quite late. Bit of a surprise. In the hopes that it leads to more missions on the island. Oh, I also need to take the... glowing crystal back to him. Technical issues. You return. Dr. Silverback told me what to do with the crystal spider sign if it was resonating like this. I'll make sure it gets back to him. He hopes the strange reaction will help him develop a detector for clifothic energy. Who'd have thought that what to my people was a symbol of good fortune could have so strange a hidden use? You know, Firewing once told me that he'd seen something like this in a museum back in Malva. He said it was the symbol of an ancient silicon-based race that lived in the galactic core, who were so powerful even the Malvans at their height didn't enter their territory. I dismissed it at the time, but do you suppose there is a connection? If the spider sign crystal that has it's a piece of quartz. Oh, come on. Why am I still having problems with my vehicles? Or with this vehicle particularly? Weird. Yeah, a huge lump of quartz that's got a crude spider cut into it that reacts to Clifothic energy being probably being related to the kings of Edom. Hello. Almost certainly. I mean, there wouldn't be any other reason that it would react and absorb Clifothic energy unless it were like some kind of capacitor for Clifothic energy, right? Hey, you got a device. Use the Lemurian device on oracular storage. Data storage. Okay. And so, what was it he said? Firewing once told me that he'd seen something like this in a museum back on Malva. So, there was an ancient silicon-based race that lived in the galactic core whose symbol was a crystal with a spider cut into it, or maybe just a spider. And the Malvans, who are this universe's version of... Well, I don't actually know what they're supposed to be. Maybe they're supposed to be this universe's version of progenitors or ancients. But this silicon-based race in the galactic core, whose symbol is a crude spider, were so powerful that even the Malvans didn't go into their territory. Sounds pretty bad. Sounds a lot like the silicon-based dudes in the galactic core are powered by the kings of Edom. Aha. Now let's go back to Commander Alexei Fyodorovich. See if we can finish off. See if this leads to more missions on Monster Island. This information is good, but the implications are very bad. This place was ancient Lemurian city, a place of leisure and deadly research, ruled by one of their ancient leaders, Andrith the Golden. Well, we already know that. When it was abandoned, a doomsday weapon was left behind. Now that the Mandragora in Lemuria appears forever lost, the Lemurian rebels sent the expedition up here to find a new superweapon. This is a situation we cannot permit. Surely it was decommissioned before it was abandoned. Like, you don't, unless you abandon something very, very quickly, which I suppose in fairness might have happened. Unless you abandon something very quickly, you decommission the weapons that you leave behind, so that you're not leaving weapons behind, leaving them lying around where anyone can find them. Okay, so this has opened up more missions. Fair enough. Have you seen those tunneling machines the Lemurians are using in their dig sites? I'm afraid it's just a matter of time before they unearth more of their buried temple. What say you throw a monkey wrench into their plans by taking out some of those big machines? I already did that, but yeah, fair enough. Do more. These Lemurians are digging up this entire neighborhood, but no doubt looking for blueprints to a lost doomsday weapon. Well, maybe they're just looking for the weapon itself. When the Mandragora superweapon, perhaps permanently damaged in Lemuria, well, with the Mandragora superweapon, perhaps permanently damaged in Lemuria. So maybe we were supposed to have, in the universe's like order or chronology of missions, maybe we were supposed to have completed the stuff in Lemuria first before coming back here. No, hold on. I'm trying to take this in order. Maybe I should go back to Lemuria now. Lemurians must be getting desperate for some means to tip the balance of power. Let's discourage these operations by putting a scare into the Lemurian excavators. Defeat excavators. Alright, so to try and keep things... Oh, come on. Why? Do you need to equip this to someone else? In order to try and keep things in order, according to the game's perceived, like, according to the chronology that the game assumes you are doing things in. Let's go back to Lemuria and do as many missions as we can there, hopefully finding a way to... Hopefully finding the pieces of story that lead us to permanently disabling the Mandragora Law, and then go back up to Monster Island. So we want coruscator lenses. Gotta say, with the obsession with rich histories and artifacts, what's a face up here? Floodgate is actually sounding a lot like Indiana Jones to me. I'm a little bit worried that she's going to come out with a line about things belonging in a museum. Hey, interesting, he's using claw attacks. 5 of those, but now we know where to look. We need engineers, perhaps in dig site stuff like that. Thankfully they are dropping at a 1-to-1 ratio. Here's another engineer, probably the last one we need. Yeah, got 4. Just need one more. I think I want to find out what he was going to launch at me there with his Freem attack. Toxic waste. Quite why there were barrels of toxic waste aboard the Cherenkov, and how they managed to come out like this now, I don't know. Yeah, even though this is doing about 80 damage to me each tick, it's not actually doing very much appreciable to my health. So this is 80 and 70 once, and it's still not really bringing my health down noticeably. It's not doing very much to my regen. Even with 3 barrels, I'm still regenerating more quickly than the damage is happening. So I'll probably be alright as long as I... Oops, hello. Didn't mean to do that. As long as I don't get into too many fights whilst I've got this toxic waste. And I mean, I have got healing powers. Okie dokie, that's 5. And now I need to take this to a volcanic vent, she said. Where can I... Up here? Yes, probably. Throw waste in toxic waste in vent. What the... Can I only do it a couple of times per vent? Or is there a cooldown on the vents? I've still got the toxic waste on me, clearly. Who's this got a mission for me here? This way. Ah. Ian Brand. He's probably going to be... Yeah, James Bond. Thought so. I'm Brand. Ian Brand. Whom do you work for? What's the password? Are you a spy? Are you my contact? I've been down here a long time, ever since the Cherenkov sank in the middle of the Cold War. But what kind of covert government agent would I be if I didn't complete my mission? A less intense one. American Cold War spy aboard the Russian nuclear sub Cherenkov. Agent Ian Brand will not allow his soul to move on to the next world until he completes his mission. Perhaps decades of exposure to radiation has something to do with his peculiar undead condition too. Probably. Ah, so this starts an event that takes us aboard Double Agents Denouement. I am in possession of highly sensitive information regarding the positions and armaments of our enemy in these waters. I definitely picked up 5 barrels of that toxic waste, and I've only dropped 2, and all of the radiation damage is gone now. And I'm pretty sure I don't have any radioactive barrels. No, I've still got radioactive barrels here. That's weird. Okay. I'm in possession of highly sensitive information regarding the positions and armaments of our enemy in these waters. My mission was to pose as a crewman aboard the Cherenkov and gather valuable intel. Then I need to return it to the American government. Would you escort me to safety and help an American patriot complete his final mission? What crew member has this as their uniform? Okay. So, escort mission then. He's got a pistol. I wonder what damage a ghost pistol might do. Especially to zombies. And these are evil spirit zombies, not reanimated by nuclear waste zombies. Because they're evil spirits. The walking dead, the undead, and the unholy, cursed souls all for whom death cannot claim. Finish off this undead abomination while it's still on the ground. Yeah, it's not actually how the zombies in this work, thankfully. So I do actually still have those barrels. I am just no longer taking damage from them for some reason. Oh shit, where's he gone? There he is. Where am I escorting him to? So I wonder whether... We must drive away the Lemurian interlopers and claim this land for the glory of radioactive reanimated Russians everywhere. I hope he's just talking hyperbolically, but how many reanimated radioactive Russians are there? Being turned into an undead spy has left me shaken, not stirred. That's very clever. I know now that I can trust you, and that I can be free. Thank you, technical issues. My mission is finally at an end. Please take this dossier, and I will go on to the next world, secure that I did my part for my country, and helped our great nation win the Cold War. Now, wouldn't it be interesting if my character was not technical issues, electricity-powered superhero, and instead was a Soviet-themed... Can I... Yes, okay. A Soviet-themed hero of some kind. Or even just a communist one, it doesn't have to be Soviet. Alright, okay. Auction lot sold. Cool. Just need to drop off one more piece of radioactive waste. I really can't believe that dropping radioactive waste in volcanic vents is a viable method of disposing of them. That just seems like a terrible, terrible idea. You're a little more green for your efforts, and I mean that in the most complimentary sense. We have more work to do, but at least we have stymied the Lemurians' efforts to rebuild another ancient doomsday weapon. Thank you. Dawn of the Damp. This was... board the capsized nuclear submarine Cherenkov. Yeah, I thought so. Technical issues. I need your help with one more task. You've been out to the Cherenkov, and you know those unholy abominations that have forgotten how to die. I would not get involved, except the undead soldiers spread their radiation like a disease. The source of their continuing plague is undoubtedly the commander, Roman Stepanov. Such a tyrant, he refuses to release his men into the afterlife. He's aboard the Cherenkov. You will have to enter the submarine and face him, or we will never be able to contain this nuclear threat. You should know that Stepanov doesn't mess around, and that sub is overflowing with his minions, so you should bring another superhero friend with you on this mission. I probably don't need to, but finally we are being sent aboard the Cherenkov. These are still active. That's worrying. So, as I understand it, the commander of the sub is not allowing his subordinates to leave for, like, actually finish dying and leave for the afterlife. And his willpower is what's keeping them here. As a result of being around a nuclear submarine that's obviously leaking the nuclear energy, leaking the radiation. The zombies, animated by supernatural power, have become radioactive. It's not that they are zombies animated by radiation, because if living people get animated or spend too long around radiation, they become irradiates, which we met in the Southwest Desert, which is not the same thing as what we've got here. These are actually dead beings who happen to also be radioactive. I wonder why they haven't turned off the alarm. Maybe they can't. Yeah, it's pretty old by this point. I mean, the game was made in 2009, so... and this was Cold War. When did the Cold War end? Was it the middle of the 90s? Let's find out. So the latest that it could possibly have sunk, if this is still a a Cold War sub. Cold War. Search Wikipedia. Now if only my tablet could load. Oh, there we go. Cold War was a period of geopolitical tension between the Soviet Union and the United States and their respective allies, the Eastern Bloc and the Western Bloc, after World War II. Historians do not fully agree on the dates, but the period is generally considered to span the 1947 Truman Doctrine to the 1991 dissolution of the Soviet Union. The term cold is used because there was no large-scale fighting directly between the two superpowers, but they each supported major regional conflicts known as proxy wars. Okay, so 91, as I thought, somewhere in the 90s. Later than I had thought, actually. Well, no, a part of me thought maybe it ended sometime in the late 80s, and a part of me thought mid-90s. As it turns out, I was almost right in both cases, but not quite. In that, not mid-90s or mid-80s, but very beginning of the 90s. Anyway, so the latest that this could have gone down would be, and still be considered a Cold War sub, would be 91 somewhere. However, given the design of the missiles and the presence of a James Bond style spy.
Get to work, comrade. You may be dead, but you're still a member of my crew.
So he doesn't have any different text than you would find if you looked at a similar level type of undead.
Remember, comrades, a busy undead worker is a happy undead worker.
So given the presence of a James Bond style spy, who, now that I think about it, was actually a member of the CIA and an American patriot rather than
Remember, comrades, a busy undead worker is a
a British one, because James Bond is British, lest we forget. I'm thinking probably 60s somewhere, maybe 70s, because the rockets outside look a lot like Saturn rockets, which were, 60s and 70s, not 90s. So the latest that this could have gone down, and therefore the longest or the shortest amount of time that these could have been here for, would be 18 years, 19 years maybe, but it's probably more likely to be about 30. And I've forgotten why I was reasoning out how long that would have been. Hold on a minute. Just a minute. That was a torpedo launching tube at the very front end of this submarine that is packed into the sand at the bottom of the sea. How the fuck did my character get out the front end of a submarine that is buried in the sand and has been for at least 19 years, if not 30, or perhaps even longer? Perhaps this went down in the 50s, although I don't know that there were any nuclear subs in the 50s. I mean, yes, I exited where I entered, in the hatch at the rear, at the aft, but I definitely went the whole length of the, well, maybe not the whole length, most of the length of the submarine to the front, like, torpedo launching tubes, torpedo launching bay at the front of the sub, and left through one of the tubes, the lower one as well, not one of the upper ones. Or, I mean, the sub was on a tilt, wasn't it? So the highest one would have been the left hand upper upper side, so top right. My character left through the opposite of that, bottom right, rather than upper left. The position furthest from the surface. So how exactly did technical issues get out through the sand and probably packed rock as well? Okay, yes, I appreciate that there was an exit at the in the final room of the mission, but it could have been a hatch in the ceiling. That would have made more sense and have been physically possible. Anyway, maybe now the spread of the Cherenkov's radioactive contamination will finally slow. Thank you. You're welcome. So I had a mission over here as well, didn't I? Although saying that, it's 20 past 11. I think given that I started a bit late and that there was an intermission of about 10 minutes, roughly, where I was trying to figure out if there was anything wrong with my internet, I think I'm going to say, well, it's a big diving helm, isn't it? I think I'm going to say Vance Buzz Bellman. I think I'm going to call it here. Boy, you showed up in the nick of time. I'm Vance Bellman, but you can call me Buzz. I'm a deep water geologist doing some freelance work for this Bureau 17 Sea Lab. At least I was before all these Carcharodons and Lemurians decided to go to war in our backyard. Ah, that's why he's got this big bubble helm, and he's called Buzz. Haha. I'm surprised. Well, if he at any point references infinity, and going beyond it, I'll know for sure. But just the fact that his uniform is white doesn't... I don't think it's quite close enough to be a reference to Buzz Lightyear. I mean, I'd want more purple on his outfit to say, yes, this is Buzz. Ian was here at the bottom of the Caligenous depths for so long trying to complete his mission. You helped him finally find peace. Thank you. Deepwater geologist and civilian Bureau 17 advisor. Okay. Oh, so he's the person that I handed Ian something. What was that? What just happened? Was it Blunt? Ian Blunt? No. Law. Ian Brand. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I'll pick up these missions and then... Well, no, actually, it'd probably make more sense if I pick the missions up next time so that you don't have 2 days between getting the mission information and actually doing the mission. So, yeah, I'll call it here. I'll pick up those missions next time and I'll have a go at each of the open world missions as well. Water hazards I can probably manage. I haven't done any Plunder the Sea at all, so I might be able to manage it. I might not. We'll find out next time. Anyway, this has been me, Rich, playing Champions Online. Thank you everyone who has watched, and if you're watching in the future, I hope the future is better than now, and I hope that you've enjoyed the show. and that you will continue watching. Goodbye.